I don't know if beacons are as exciting now as they used to be.
For oh, I see. Well, yeah,
Oops.
it's probably the Friday. Friday, I would say Friday. Not a lot of people are. So Friday's supposed to be like day off, probably.
Yeah,
For
people are looking forward to the weekend and whatnot.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I clicked off from work to come here, so but
Oh,
work is not as far now. I mean, I just like turn from this screen to this screen and okay, work's done.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. So usually our member, I think, for most of the members, we are most of them are available probably on Tuesday and the Thursday. That's where people are really most active in. And other than that, I don't think we have any great result on any Friday. Um, but I think like the more important thing is also about the content we're putting out. And I think people will look back and then they'll review this, and I think that's more important than just getting the viewer. So that's why I'm keep doing this.
It's
On
not a
that, oh, sorry.
no. Go
Uh,
ahead.
on that note, though, I will say I announced this to the game development club, so
Oh,
hopefully
nice.
we'll get some people in here from them too. So yeah,
All right. Thank you so much, Daniel.
yep.
All right. Hi, everyone. Real quick, before we start, I'm the treasurer of CSS, and I just wanted to make a quick announcement again to remind you guys that we do have a meeting tonight at 7 p.m. Specifically for the mentor-mentee program that we organized. We will be doing the wow, I can't talk, sorry. The mentor-mentee reveal tonight. So if you guys have signed up for it by the deadline, we have paired all of you guys up with a mentee or a mentor. So make sure you guys show up to that meeting tonight, and let me know if you guys can't show up. That's totally fine. The Zoom ID should be on Discord, and you guys should have gotten an email about it earlier this week. And you guys can also find it on Instagram and Facebook, I believe. So you guys can join at any time. Probably it's gonna start around 7, so I'd like you guys to show up by then. And if you guys missed the deadline and would still like to be part of it, we will be doing it again next semester. So be sure to look out for that, and definitely join next semester. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for this stuff. Yeah. So I think we're gonna get started since, right? So all right. Hi everyone. My name is Tuan, and I'm the president for the Computer Science Society on our campus. And along with me, we also have Keaton, which is our public official, and Ashley as well as Sandra. They're all here to support us. And thank you everyone for coming. And I think the most important thing is Mr. Kimberlin from Blizzard. So Mr. Kimberlin, can you introduce a little bit about yourself?
I can. I'll start out with, like I said, because we're taping this, I have to say all views, ideas, and thoughts expressed here are my own and not representative of Blizzard Entertainment, which is the same thing I have to say every time that I go on Twitch. It's just required. Um, a little about myself. I started at Blizzard 15 years ago, so right after WoW launch. And before Burning Crusade, that was my first game to have my name in the title in the scroll by, which was really cool. And yeah, this was, I guess, what you would call late in life for me. I had already done a lot of other work in banking and call centers previous, and then came to Blizzard because I wanted to find some place that I would be happy going to work every day. That's really important.
I see, Mr. Kimberlin. So yeah, I just want to start off with thanking you for being here with us, and just start off with just talking about your general, like how you came into like Blizzard or the path before that. So before that, So let's ask you. My first question to you is, your education background, right? Because I think everyone is it's important to have your educations. And how was it like? What school did you go to, or can you just give us a little more thought about that?
I can. Most of the time that I was in school, I'll kind of put it in context. I graduated from high school in 1984.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of set the bar of where I was going to school at a little bit different time. Computer science consisted of a lot of math. In fact, it was basically all math. There was no straight engineering programs or straight computer game programs or none of that existed. You basically went all math as deep as you could, and then you learned how to either build or program computers. And that was pretty much the late 80s, early 90s. So my focus went more toward business. And so that's where I had started my schooling, and with a minor in English, and just started life. So I can't really lean into the advantages that exist right now for anybody that wants to be a programmer, engineering, front end, back end. All of the opportunities that are out there right now are amazing. I would have loved to have those opportunities. Might have changed the direction that I went, but I am happy where I'm at now.
I see. Okay. So I think another important thing is, like when you say there's a lot of opportunity like arise every now and then, 10 years from now, there's might be some even different fields available for our students. So back when you were in school, then do you excel at certain things? Like, you go to a business school, you probably, I'm not sure, excel in this person skills, I guess. So can you talk more about your, the skill that you're good at, or you consider yourself, decent at it?
The English skills and talking with people, working with people. I started in with a martial arts class that I carried on into, and actually, the instructor that I met at UNO, that was University of New Orleans, actually had his own school that I went to and became a black belt in, and that's actually how I ended up in California. Is my instructor who was teaching in New Orleans moved to California, and I moved to California to help him teach martial arts. So
Wow.
nowhere around computing or Kuksuwan was the style that I came out here to help teach. And that is a Korean martial arts system, basically a mixture of Taekwondo and weapons. It has a lot of joint locking and things in it too, kind of a Hapkido Taekwondo mix. And didn't take long as time passed that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu became a really big deal. And that is the partner that I ended up opening a school with. His focus was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So that's what we taught for 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, we had our own studio in Fountain Valley, and it was fun. It was really educational. I really enjoyed that. And then things got shaky, and I went. Basically, all the prices shot up, and so the cost of keeping a school open was really difficult. And they tore down the building. They were tearing down the buildings where we were placed. So that put me back into the regular job force again, and I started working in banking, and Downey Savings and Loan Bank is where I bounced to, and used the collection skills and phone skills that I had picked up to basically just fit in there and start helping in their loan company. So again, not computers, other than being able to work on them and operate.
I see. So there wasn't at any point you would think that you would probably end up where you are now.
Not at all. Nobody could track a martial arts instructor in Louisiana becoming a product manager for Blizzard Entertainment. I just don't think you make that connection ever. So it was interesting. But all of the things that I had done from working at Blockbuster Video and and things like that, interacting with customers, all came to be advantageous because when World of Warcraft exploded, they needed people that could actually train people how to work on the phones comfortably, how to answer calls, how to deal with customers, because the volume of customers was just, I mean,
Skyrocket.
well, I think at that particular time we shot into like 3 million in the first year, and then up to 15 million before. So yeah, you had to get that down pretty fast.
I see. Yeah, for me, I think I remember playing World of Warcraft with my friends. I think it was like a knockoff version of it, or is it a different version? I can't remember. The Frozen one.
Frozen Throne.
Uh,
Lich King.
yeah, but yeah, I was playing that, and it was pretty fun for me. I'm not sure if anyone would be, want to pitch in what they like, what games they played, but it was a fun time back then. So yeah, let's talk more about your job, the back then job. Sorry, so the call center and what you have to like a little bit more about that, and like basically what did that those job teach you, and build yourself up.
Sure. So ideally, when you're dealing with a call center / collections, and collections has got a bad terminology. I mean, I was calling people that were behind on their bills. That's basically what it was. But because I was working at a bank, we had both car loans and home loans. So it's just really learning how to talk to people on the phone in a polite way. If you're behind on your car or your house, things are bad, right? You don't let those bills go if things are going well in your life. So just being able to be polite and talk to people is really part of the skill that I learned, to be able to just talk to people through their problems. What's the best resolution? How can we come to this? It wasn't about some other collection calls, which can be quite disconcerting. It was more just about, is the person going to be able to keep the car, or what can we do to help with their home loans and things like that. So that was the path that I was in. It was working out fine for me, but I wasn't happy. It's never fun going to work to just sit down and have a list of people that you're going to call to basically discuss bad news. That was kind of the job. One of my friends who worked down, I was on the 3rd floor, and on the 1st floor was the actual bank, Downey Savings and Loan. And one of my friends who was a teller got a job at Blizzard, working in the tech department. And he said, "Hey, customer service is looking for a lot of people. You might be interested in, putting in for that, because I know you don't love what you're doing." So yeah, I applied and was basically hired on the spot, with the information as, we're not going to be able to pay you, but we have a job that you can just walk in the door and take. So
wow. So wait. I really want to touch on the point where you say we won't be able to pay you. So
basically, look at it this point of view: is I was considered a manager over 3 people in a collections center inside of a bank, and I was going back to start at Blizzard as a tier 1 call rep, not as a manager, not as a leader of people at that particular time, but just to take phone calls. And so, from a collection standpoint, we make about 100 calls a day. And when I went in to interview, they're like, "We're hoping you can handle about 25, 30 calls a day." And I'm like, "I can do that." And they said, "But we're not going to be able to obviously pay you the salary where you're coming from. But if you'll accept what we do offer, I think that you'll move forward in the company pretty quickly." And I went home, talked to my wife, and explained to her. And she goes, "We'll give it a year. We'll give it a year to see what happens." Now, 15 years later, we're going to say it was a good choice.
Yeah, good stuff. It's awesome. Cool. So it goes into this concept of like doing what you want, right, and doing what you love, or is it you're pursuing the things that you're well, I guess it's more like you're pursuing the money. You're not really pursuing the money, but you're pursuing what you like, right?
It is. It's about your passion. What are you passionate about? Because if you're passionate about what you're doing, even it's not always going to be great, right? Every day and every project you work on or every item that you pick up is not going to be perfect. But if you're still passionate about how you're going to deliver this, how is this project going to land? I may not love it, but I'm still going to be 110% successful. I'm going to throw myself into it because what I'm doing, whether it be designing, programming, front end, back end, am I dealing with data? Am I dealing with, beautiful front end websites? Whatever that is, if you are passionate about getting that right, then the pieces about it that you may not love, it's okay. Some part of your work is just the job, right? The job is I have to fill these Jira tickets. I have to complete this information. I may not love that part of it, but I do get to interact with a lot of really cool people at Blizzard. And those people, the teams that I work with and my team personally, is really what makes me want to, at this point, not drive in, but log in every day and have that conversation and be able to work with these wonderful people because it's really what makes your day. Even if it's just through a video screen now, it's still, you're dealing with people that you enjoy working with. You're passionate about the project. You're passionate about your team. If that's your focus, then I feel like you'll be happier in life. Is there places that you could go and make just work for money? I'm only here for the money. They exist, and people will pay you. Those jobs turn over a lot faster normally. It's normally a 2 or 3 year gig. Then whatever that you built has been launched, and the developers are, we have some people over here to keep it running. We don't need you now, and then you move on, and that's okay if that's what you want. Again, it's about finding what resonates with you, what makes you happy to go into work every day. Because I'll let you know now, if you're going in every day to a place you hate going, you're not going to continue to do your best. You will get burned out. You will get bored. And then somebody else may tell you not to come back to work. So it's better to make that choice yourself, that this isn't working out. But you should give it a chance too. I know sometimes people are like, I tried it, it didn't work. Well, how many times did you try it? I lean back on my martial arts experience and say, I threw a front kick 100 times before I got it right. There's things that you will need to attempt and to try a lot of times from a lot of different directions before you can really say, you know what, that's not for me. That's just not going to be for me. So you don't want to make that. I tried it once, it was horrible. I'm never going to do it again. Because in life and in jobs, that doesn't always work out. But definitely find that passion, because if you're passionate about it, you won't mind. You won't mind trying a bunch of times.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So you took that from the call center. You move on to the tier one call guy from to Blizzard, right? And I just wonder, like, what from, like, because you're getting what makes you, so tell me about the decisions that goes on when you discuss with your wife, like what kind of things are on your mind when you were talking to her about that.
Well, basically, I just said that I've really been interested in this company. I've played their games. My wife knew that I played video games. It wasn't a surprise to her. And so being able to discuss with her exactly why I think this would be a good fit for me and why I think that I would move forward in the company, it came out to be true. And my room says it all. It does. The advantage that I had coming in is I did have call center knowledge. I had phone knowledge. I had speaking. Phone speaking is very different, obviously, than speaking live or speaking. You have to be able to, people can hear your smile on the phone. If you're smiling, it sounds like you're smiling. If you're upset and mad and you're all mad, it comes across the phone that way as well. So the first thing I asked when I went to work, my wife agreed for me to try. I went to work and I said, can I use any voice I want? And they were like, what? Like what is, what's going on? How do you gamify it? What do you do? And they're like, as long as you're polite, we don't care. We have Talk Like a Pirate Day on September. So yeah, it's okay.
Oh, really?
We do.
Oh, wow.
That was one of the Blizzard's thing. So basically I started answering the phone. Thank you for calling Lance. This is Blizzard. How may I help you? People are like, hello? And it broke the monotony because people are so used to just calling and getting a recording. And Blizzard at the time was doing 100% live answer calls. So because they were used to recordings, people were like caught off guard. A live person with like a radio voice popping into their ears. And they were like, yeah, I'm having a problem with X. I'm like, oh, okay, let me help you with that. And it would break the ice and then be a comfortable conversation, and helping other people learn the right way to speak to people and the right way to address people and address their problems. If you call me and you're like, my game's broken. Okay, I hear you. I understand that you're having issues with the game. Let's break it down to see exactly what the issue is. Maybe you don't have the disk in right. Maybe, like, there's a lot of things. Everybody on this call has dealt with tech issues, I'm sure. So sometimes it is the game. Sometimes it's the computer. Sometimes it's the operator. There can be a lot of different things, and being a polite way to walk your way through that is very important. So that's how I started. About a year in, I then became a senior. So I had 15 representatives that reported to me. 2 more years, I was a team manager, had 32 people reporting to me. Then went to the customer service has a PMO, which is basically just a global group that helped give answers out to the entire CS department, both. So we had Cork, Ireland, Vlizy, France, Austin, and Taiwan, and Korea. And so being able to make sure that if there's a problem in the game, it's probably universal. And so being able to catch that piece of information, what the problem is, and share that out to the entire CS department globally, so that they could translate the problem down into proper information to be able to share out with customers. So that was kind of that path. That took me into project management. So I basically went up through CS all the way through management, people management, and then went over to the PMO to actual project management, where I was actually managing the projects and sharing information of those projects out to the global customer service departments.
Oh, I see. Okay. Very, very interesting. So, if you were to say, like let's start off with the difficulties that you have while you're just moving up the ladder, right? So, what do you see is some issues that people have that you help them, or like you found some way that can solve them?
So for teammates of mine, people that reported to me, people that I helped on the phone,
so like I would say the people who's working with you, so your teammates or the people who talk to you every day, that you go to work with, what kind, when you were moving up the ladders, what do you think people are lacking behind, or the issues that, well, not the issues, but like the difficulty that you see people encounter?
Some of the most difficult meetings and things to be in are where you have the right answer, or you're like 99% sure you have the right answer, and there's a meeting going on with people giving answers. Sometimes it's hard to listen to other people when you have the right answer. It's better to listen. It's better to follow, to listen to what everybody else says, to be able to understand that some people aren't talking. So for like myself, one of my, I don't know, I guess it's a skill, but it's more of just being able to look at the room, watch the room, read the room. Are people nodding? Do they agree with what they're hearing? Are they not? Do you see somebody make a face that says they have an answer, but nobody's calling on them and they're not confident enough to potentially say something? Being the person to help drive that conversation, to call out and and say, hey, Austin, it looks like you have an answer to that. Looks like you were thinking about something. Give them the opportunity to respond. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Maybe they'll come talk to you later because you at least mentioned or acknowledged their name. But being able to help people share their ideas and share their information is huge no matter what place you are in the team. It doesn't matter if you're an engineer, a designer, an editor, a PM like myself or whatever. Being able to help people share their ideas, because in general, they wouldn't be there if they weren't smart and passionate like you, right? They got through the door, they got hired. Maybe they came in as interns and they got exposed to parts of Blizzard and they decided this is how the direction they wanted to take. And being able to make sure to get that information out of people, especially people that are coming into meetings with, I mean, I can look semi-intimidating. I'm not, but I can look that way. If you come walking into a room and you see me standing there or at the head of the table and you're an intern that just joined, doesn't mean you don't have the answer. You probably are smarter than me in a lot of areas. And I need to be able to get that information from you, and you need to be confident to deliver that information. And it's not unusual for people, especially who are just starting. You've seen something I haven't seen before. The last time I was in school was in the 90s, right? Other than classes I take online and things like that. But you know what I'm saying. So your understanding of certain technologies or certain programming languages or certain steps that may have changed are very readily something that you need to be able to share with the group, with the team. Maybe you just got finished studying something and you'd like to give it a try. Having that ability to be confident to say, I've got something new I'd like to try, and getting people to give you that opportunity to try it, that's where that growth comes. So for me, being able to help lead a team, it's me being able to get those answers out of people, to be able to present those, to get that discovery work as part of what it's called, and finding out what we should do next. Or maybe it's not what we do next, but it's something that we work on later when we have extra time to be able to look at it. But you still got to give people credit, and you need to call out their successes. And they also have to be confident that they can fail. It's okay to fail. The whole idea and some of the things that you'll hear, some of the buzzwords are like fail fast, get back on the line again. And that's all true, but nobody likes to fail. Nobody starts something because they want to fail. They start something because they have a really good idea and they want it to go forward. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but you have to be confident to try. And if the first time you fail, you get slapped down and told that was a horrible idea, you're not going to volunteer the next idea, even if it is the right one, because you're going to be, taken aback from that. So that's what I would say would be number one. Understand to let people talk and help them share their information, their knowledge.
I see. Okay. So so another part I want to ask is for our currently we're all student, right? And we're also are looking for like jobs and opportunity. So when you were to because I think you as a BM you probably interview like a lot of candidates, right? And so what are some criteria you see for let's say for a CS, right? What criteria do you see in a successful candidate? Can you give more insight about that?
I can, and I can take it beyond CS as well. Just so in Blizzard, and I'm sure it's similar to in other places, although I've obviously been at Blizzard for a while, but I have had a lot of other jobs prior. Being able to be knowledgeable about whatever position you're coming into is high, and knowledgeable as in what's coming and what's in the past. Having a baseline of what has particularly happened in customer service. We used to be all incoming phone calls. Now we have callbacks, and we have live chat, and we have other items. So those particular things are important from a CS standpoint, but also in engineering, in design, in our editorial. So be aware of where this particular company came from. So what was the start? How did Blizzard start? What were the beginning of the games? Have that baseline if you were applying for Blizzard to know this is what engineers used to do. This is what they're doing today. And I see the future as being all of this. It's all mobile. Okay, it's probably not. But anyway, probably still on a
Good.
console and PC.
Good
But
enough.
but you understand what I'm saying is being aware of those steps. And the other thing too is when you interview, you're interviewing with different groups. So in Blizzard, if you're applying as an engineer, you'll interview with the PMs. The PMs will ask you questions about how you work inside the engineering team and how you work with other people. The engineers are going to ask you engineering questions because they know what you're coming to do. So you're going to get drilled on engineering by engineers. The designers are going to also ask you questions. They're going to ask you questions that kind of feel you out on how well you work with other people and how you work with designers giving you critiques on, yeah, we just need that line to move over just a little bit.
I got that. Yeah, I did that the last time with my members also. But anyway, yeah, go on.
Yeah. So that's kind of that to understand that who you're interviewing with should be the way that you form your questions. If you're answering an engineer, feel free to get technical and answer in a technical way. If you're interviewing with a PM, explain the way that you would work with a team and help the team work better together, because that's what the PM wants to hear. The same thing for the designer. The designer wants to know that they can work with the engineer and be comfortable working with them. So that's kind of those interviewing techniques that will help you in any job anywhere, is understand when somebody sends you, these are the people you're going to meet with, get on LinkedIn, get on Google, go check them out. What did they do? How did they do it? Because I do the exact same thing when I get an interview. If I'm going to be interviewing you, I'm going to look you up in LinkedIn. I'm going to see what you did. We had one person who I won't call out the name, but there was a YouTube. They had started a YouTube channel 3 years before. So basically when they were in high school, they started a YouTube channel. And in that YouTube channel, they said that one of their favorite things was a particular flavor of popcorn. Just pretty innocuous, right? Nothing big. But in the interview, I was like, so are you still a big fan of cheddar cheese popcorn? And they were like, what? Because I did my research. I wanted to be able to let the person know that you're worth my time to go and interview. If I'm actually going to sit in a room with you, I want to know about you. I want to know what you're bringing. That person is in fact working for Blizzard and came up through an internship, did an internship with us, finished her schooling, and then came back and got hired on into the PM work. So it still comes down to that, understanding the group that you're interviewing with and understand to be able to answer questions in that format. The other thing I would say, and it's normally not as big a deal for people just starting, but when you're in the middle of, you've had maybe 3 or 4 jobs, so somewhere down the line a little bit, don't try to put everything that you've ever done ever in your resume. When your resume goes beyond 2 pages, goes 2, 3, 4 pages, I've seen 5-page resumes, you've lost your selling point, because that's a lot to look through, because I'm probably interviewing 5, 10, 15 people, and that's a lot of information to try to absorb. So make sure that cover sheet, if they offer it, tells something about you as a person. And then that first sheet next, which is your resume, actually tells, here's why I'm a good fit for your job. Here's the stuff that I've done that makes me the person to hire. And anything after that, your school classes, other things, other pieces of information that might also, I did an internship here, I did an internship, that should be there. But think about those steps in that order, because that's the way people read it. Because I'm looking at a bunch. So if I'm looking at a bunch, I'm going to read quickly, and I want that thing that catches me, that catches my eye, makes me get drawn into actually reading the information. So think of it from that point of view, because again, it's not unusual to have thousands of applicants for a hot Blizzard job. So you're trying to fight that out. So it's important, and that's just Blizzard. And I am sure Google and Apple and these other places that are even bigger just have this, this massive amount that they need to get through. And so making sure that it's easy to digest exactly what is good for you, that's the key.
I see. Wow, very, very insightful. I'm typing this whole thing so I can just go back and take notes on all of this. But all right. So we'll move on to the Blizzard part, because I know that a lot of people are interested in the Blizzard, working with Blizzard and the company itself. So let's just talk about the company culture. So yeah. So first thing I want to ask is what makes you proud to work at the company, because you mentioned it a few times.
The people first. The people that are there are all passionate and super excited to be there as well, whether it's from internship all the way up. So just having a good group of people that it'd be nice to see. I'd say I've seen one from across a from across a dining area that was an outdoor dining area and like waved. That's what I've seen since lately, at least since March. But ideally, prior to that, we have our own campus, we have our own Starbucks, we have places to hang out that all have Wi-Fi access. You can take meetings out in the green area. I mean, it is a place that is fun to be. It will get there again. Right now, obviously, we're all trapped at home, but ideally, that was the start, right? So you're looking at the differences of, I mean, not many places have a 19-foot high bronze orc holding an axe riding a warg in the center of the campus, right? That's probably not the norm. All of the artwork, everything that is Blizzard is on the walls. It's in the rooms. It's anything that you've seen at BlizzCon. All of those particular items that you see online all exist in real life in full size. So location is a lot, and the ability to be creative in an area, because obviously Blizzard is all about creativity, that helps. Being able to see all of that helps your creative mind flow. It's not a bunch of white walls. It's not a bunch of white fluorescent lights where you just sit and that's it. There's art everywhere. There's color everywhere. So that is a huge thing about being at Blizzard. The culture is still, we have to get stuff done. There's still work involved.
True.
There is still, hey, things need to get out. Shadowlands is coming. Pre-patch next week. So there's stuff that has to happen. So there's real work involved, and you have to be cognizant of, in all the fun, there's still work that needs to be delivered. So helping your PMs like me hit deadlines and reach those things, that's super important from my point of view. Making sure that people are getting things done, or in the case for us, a lot of times it's removing blockers. We have people that are ready to do certain things and they may be blocked by somebody else, and being able to make sure that you're there to remove those blockers, make it easier for them to move forward, complete their work, submit their branches back into the code. All of that is part from a PM standpoint.
I see. Wow. Okay, so talking about projects, I know that maybe you have like NEA things going on, but what kind of like cool projects you can talk about that you did, and just talk about the overall anything that you would like to talk about.
Sure. Well, I talked about my path all the way through customer service. So through the first half, for the first big chunk of time at Blizzard, I was all inside of customer service. Then I transferred. One of the teams that I was working with was the web and mobile team. And so the web and mobile team makes all of the web experiences, all the mobile apps, things like that. And so because I had worked with them with customer service, I moved over to that team and actually became a producer, was the title that they used. They don't use those titles now, but now I'm back to being a PM. But the producer title was the title, and moved over and started helping with websites. Basically, almost all the website items we were doing were front end, so front facing BlizzCon website. And the first project that I got handed was Azeroth Choppers. We did a fun motorcycle project where Horde and Alliance voted against each other about which cool motorcycle was going to get made. So that was my first website endeavor, besides just doing regular daily things, and that was a lot of fun and a lot of challenges. Yeah, the motorcycle thing. So it was a lot of fun. And so that was like my dipping my toes in as a producer. Then started helping with the BlizzCon websites, and that just kind of opened up to Blizzard.com, and we launched that little game called Overwatch.
I'm not sure if it's little or not, but sure, yeah, you can say it's little.
So
we
we had
might
that.
have the big name title. I'm sorry, but
Yeah, maybe it'll get bigger. But yeah, so I was part of the team that we were making that as a live announcement, and so we were turning on websites live in the background while BlizzCon is running, and people are on stage announcing it, and that was scary and exciting because if it would have been up even a few minutes early, then people would have actually known that it was going to be, they would have leaked. And so we're trying to do all that live. That was super exciting and stressful, and it worked, and it worked well. But yeah, that was some of the exciting projects. As we move forward now, I've moved over to work in the data side of it. So I'm more back end, working as a product manager on the game stats and competition team. So now instead of being all the front end facing items, we're handling all of the data that's coming in from the game teams and from esports, Overwatch League, obviously, today, championships and things like that. So all of that data and all those pieces, we're just making sure that that flows well. The spice must flow. Everything must continue to move forward. And if it doesn't, then live ops immediately pings us, hey, something's down or something's not working. And we have to jump in and make sure that it's adjusted.
I see. Yeah. So yeah, there's a questions that you wanna. I think you were reading it. So the question would be, what would be your best advice for an aspiring project manager to crack into project manager from? So maybe a project manager or like a technical consultant role.
Sure. So I've been project, program, and product. So all three versions of PMs that exist at Blizzard. So understanding the differences between those, project, you're really going to be all about timelines. Understanding that a project manager is all about the project being delivered. You may be on the team itself, or you just may be overseeing the team and how they're delivering things and reporting that up to execs. So that's kind of where you potentially are in that project area. Being aware of what they call PMP, just straight the knowledge necessary of timekeeping, risk aversion, how to list out all of those particular items to be able to be aware of, I mean, you make a risk register, and one of the most, number one important thing, we're doing an internet game, the internet has to stay up. But number 10 on the list may be, we have to prepare for an earthquake. Probably not ever going to happen, but you still want to be aware of it, right? It's something that could happen. Do you have a plan for that? So if you're getting into project managing, you want to look at it from that. And then for the next step, program management is basically where we were managing a set of programs. So in my particular case, it was a set of websites. So blizzard.com, the Blizzard career site, a collection of websites that obviously the same team worked on and went to deliver items. You're more looking on to making sure that everything runs smoothly and that you're updating and keeping everything moving forward. And then now, where the role I'm in now, product, it's really all about discovery, understanding the product itself. So my product right now is data. How are we getting that data out? We are also absorbing esports information. So how is this esports information being put out? How are we getting it to broadcast? How are we getting it stored to be able to show the path from contenders to pro? Things like that are all information that we need to constantly be studying, understanding, knowing what's changing. We played Hearthstone and we only played this particular style, and now we're going into round robin, and now we're doing Swiss, and now how does all this affect? What are these different pieces and different ways that these things fit together? And what can you do to help the team improve that? So being a broad understanding as far as product is really helpful. And then just to how to get in it, understanding what is Agile, what is Kanban, what are some of the most common softwares, Jira, Confluences, and things like that that are used. How do you have the basic understanding of how that works? It doesn't have to be that exact piece of software, but understanding how that software works and how that could carry over to how you can have an epic that has stories under it, that has tasks under it, and how those need to be completed. I know you've been exposed to that, I'm sure. So you would have a basic understanding. So just knowing how that works, that would be advantageous to being able to move forward in the PM world, regardless of which part of the M you chose, project, product. It's similar, but they are slight differences, and being aware of those help.
All right. Another question from Darren. What is number one skill or occurrences in a resume in an interview that is make it or break it? So if you want to give more thought on that.
I can. Part of that is really, if I'm looking at a cover, let's start with the cover sheet. So the cover letter where you're expressing who you are, seeing passionate in that makes a difference. It's one thing if somebody goes, my name is Lance. I came from Texas. I went to school here. And I have all the education you could ever want. Thank you. Cool. It's informative. It doesn't grab you. If I go, hey, I'm Lance Kimberlin. I come in here. I bench press 300 pounds. I deadlift 600 pounds. I'm an awesome guy. You'd like working with me. Oh, I also have all this project management stuff. Something that's just a little bit different. You don't want to be cookie cutter, especially on your cover sheet. Almost everybody's work experience / what you've learned in school is going to be similar. No, actually, I only bench 240, but thank you. But I'm going to get to 300 one day. No, on the thing that you're thinking about is all of you are going to the same school right now. So if you all sat down and wrote your start, well, I went to this school and I got this education. What's different? What's different between Brandon and Justin and Viv and what is different? And Ashley, how do you stand out from that individual, from the people that are your own teammates? A lot of it will be what you're passionate about, right? If you're passionate about design, your information about why you want to go into design will stand out. And so find that what you're looking out there. That's really what my advice is about being able to grab somebody's attention. Because if it is cookie cutter, it becomes very much like I was, reading very slow and very monotonous because it'll look like everybody else. Don't look like anybody else in that case. When I say look, it's not physical looks, but make sure that there's something different about it, something about the way that it's presented, that you're presenting you. Who are you? Because that's what you're selling, right? But regardless of what's on the paper, it should all be true. Don't. I saw somebody come into an interview and said that they had played one of our games and knew it really well. Unfortunately, they were sitting across from the designer that actually designed that game. It did not go well when they actually didn't know anything about the game. So make sure everything on your resume is true, but think about how you can make it stand out, that it can actually focus on what you're bringing, because you're selling yourself. You're selling what you're going to bring to the company. And that's the best advice I can give you.
All right. Yeah. So okay. All right. Yeah. Move on to the next questions. How would one go about trying? So this is like a side load question. So how would one go about trying to get into Overwatch League or becoming Overwatch contender?
So ideally you start through contenders, right? So you would start in our, what we call our grassroots. You would have a team, you would play, you would get points. You would look to get picked up. Contenders is just basically a group of people that are playing together. You can go to the esports site itself. And you have to be good. And obviously the thing about that a lot of people kind of get lost is, well, my DPS is awesome. I can take anybody out. My headshots, anything. But can you play with a team? Because some people can't. So if you can't play in a team atmosphere, you're not going to make it in that particular group. Maybe you'll be really great in StarCraft or something where it's just 1v1, but you have to be able to play with a team. And sometimes your team may not play the same way you do. You have to find, again, similar to your work environment, how do you match together? What are the right parts of the team that play together? And if all of a sudden Blizzard changes the way a hero plays, can you adapt? So be really adaptable, really good team. Those two things, and obviously you start in contenders, that will get you noticed. If your point score is high, your team is strong, and they see good teamwork together, that's always going to be a benefit. You still have to be good though, because just think the path to pro football versus there's 100,000 kids playing, football in high school that come down to a few thousand playing in college, that come down to a few hundred playing in pro. That happens as well. So you have to definitely be in that top 1% type to be able to continue to grow.
I see. All right. Thank you so much. Okay.
I do. Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading the question. You can, if you want to read the question, then I answer it. That's okay too.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to read the questions, because it seems like you already read it. So, yes, go ahead.
So one of the skills of a PM is you're going to have a lot of chats popping up on your screen all the time from all of your teammates. Being able to respond quickly is helpful. So when I see a chat pop, I'm immediately talking. That carries over to Twitch streaming too, if you Twitch stream. So ultimately, yeah, that's part of it too. Let's see. Let's go back to the question. So being able to sell yourself really does come in the way to being able to express yourself. So whether you join a debate team, whether you just do some of this live speakers, there's cheer masters, there's a bunch of different things that you can get into to speak. Not that anybody necessarily wants to be a public speaker all the time, but those skills to be able to speak publicly and to feel comfortable talking, that's how you can sell yourself. Those are advantages that are going to help you. Because in general, if you're interviewing and you've got past the person that called you on the phone to feel you out, so that's still a phone call. So first you send in the resume, then you get picked out of that pile. Then somebody's going to call and see if what you've got on your resume is pretty true. You're like, okay, this person's answering the questions the way that they told me that they were supposed to answer them. So, okay, good. I'm actually going to get you a live interview. So now you're live interview time. And that means you have to be able to speak face to face. I would go in, watch YouTube videos of people interviewing people. There's a ton of them out there. I know I've looked at them myself. Think of different ways to answer. LinkedIn has a really good step through on you're interviewing for the job. What questions did you expect? How should you answer those questions? All of those type things help you get ready. And then sit across from somebody you like. They have your resume and they're asking you questions. Because just even taking the time to answer those questions over and over again drills them in, and it starts creating kind of like a muscle memory. Like, you hear this question, here's the answer for it. Because it is an interview, but it doesn't mean you can't be prepared. And if you prepare with that give and take, somebody talking back and forth, and they can ask some funny questions too. If they know you, they might drop in a couple of questions that might make you laugh. That's okay, because again, that's part of getting that comfort level of talking about yourself. So that's my answer for that.
All right. Yeah. So unfortunately, we only have Well, okay. Well, yeah. You can answer one more time. That's it. All right. That's honest. Okay. Cool. So, is there any interview cliche or answers pitfalls to avoid? Okay.
You will often be asked about your past employment or past place that you worked, problems you may have had with past employees or past teammates. Everybody knows that you've had those problems, right? If you've worked on a team, there's somebody on the team that you may not have been super happy with. That's just life. Finding the proper way to describe that piece of information, I can assure you that trashing that individual will not help you out. Whether it's from your heart or not, it doesn't help. You can say that I had disagreements with so and so, but we found a way to work through them and we still delivered the project. That's fine. If you say I would have delivered the best project ever, but it crashed and burned because of so and so, that's not going to help you. So I would say watch out for. It's more of how do you work with a team? How do you talk about people you really don't like? Because we're asking you about people that you've had problems with. So, while you still want to be truthful, you don't gain anything by just tearing somebody down. So that would be one thing. And then you'll also get the crazy questions like, if you were a fruit, describe yourself. And you're like, I have no idea where to go with this. But you can go with, I'm a well-rounded person, so probably a piece of citrus, something. It may sound funny, but just being comfortable about finding something that adheres to that, that's the way I would go. Because sometimes it's just for fun. They're throwaway questions that somebody just throws to see the reaction. But at the same time, having an answer for the throwaway question, that's good too. If you just get stumped, that's rough. So that's my answer.
All right. Cool. So right now, I think we only the time for bother use is just too much. So I think we're gonna stop here. And I think you also you mentioned that you stream on Twitch, right? So if people want to reach out or if people want to talk to you more, I think you stream on Twitch. So can you tell us more about that and see if people can?
Yeah, I stream on Twitch on Wednesday nights, almost every Wednesday night. Part of that for me is just it's a way to just kind of break down, make it easy. The week can be long, and because of that, I just have fun. It's really about a relaxing time to just have fun with what I'm doing. So I have. That's my stream. Feel free to come by, drop by, say hi, give me a little input of where you came from so I know. Because I recognize most of the people because I do not have a large stream. I have maybe 10, 15 people max that kind of just cycle through that are people that I know. So if you do come, feel free. I welcome everybody to my stream, super inclusive, and just enjoy playing the game to relax. That's how I unwind on Wednesday night. But ultimately, feel free to ask me questions. I think one of the things I say, as long as it's announced by Blizzard, I can talk about it. I can't do anything that's not announced by Blizzard, but I'm always super, I play a lot of Hearthstone. That's my favorite. I'm really excited to help people grow. So if you have questions, feel free. I'll do the best I can on stream. If you want to reach out to me afterwards, I'm not opposed to talking to people just to give them thoughts. So no problem.
All right. Cool. Yeah. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming out, and I know people would appreciate you. Yeah. As we see in the chat, people are really appreciating you. So, thank you so much, and we'll talk soon. On cool. All right. Thank you everyone for coming in. Also.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody.
everyone.
All right.
Everyone,
Everyone take care. See y'all.